Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where this time we gotta talk about Return of the Jedi and why Return of the Jedi is awesome. This is one of my absolute favorite Star Wars movies, and from beginning to end, this movie is an absolute gem. If you are someone who follows the Skywalker saga from episode 1 through the story of Anakin Skywalker, and then episode 4, 5, and 6, where you follow Luke Skywalker. This film really encapsulates the perfect ending to the Skywalker saga. We could talk about the sequels, but we're not going to. That's not why we're here. We want to talk about Return of the Jedi. Now, this movie starts off in a interesting place because it does pick up after The Empire Strikes Back, where Han has been captured, frozen in carbonite, and the main group of heroes, they're launching a rescue mission to obtain him and free him from carbonite in Jabba's palace. So you get introduced to Jabba the Hutt, one of the more iconic villains of Star Wars, and that whole scene, that whole opening act of the movie where you have Luke kind of setting up things with sending the droids in first, and then he goes in, and ultimately it's all a scheme to put pieces where they need to be so that they can they can launch a successful mission. There's a lot of debate about what the actual plan was, and I think realistically, they had multiple plans to kind of fall back on. For example, Leia sneaking in the bounty hunter disguise could have been an easy way to just get Han and get out. But they were prepared for when that didn't work because then Luke arrives himself. He has his lightsaber set up inside of R2D2, and then he's ready to roll. So, just awesome. The Sarlacc pit scene, iconic. You get a little bit of action from really cool characters like Boba Fett, and you get to see the defeat of Jabba the Hutt, which is awesome. You also get the planet Endor in the movie. Endor may be one of the more controversial parts. There are, believe it or not, a lot of people out there that do not care for the Ewoks. Me personally, I love the Ewoks. I think they make sense in Star Wars. I think it goes to show that with the Emperor having this, tighten grip on the entire galaxy, that it can be the most unassuming things you don't count on. Literally the little people that really contribute to his undoing. I think that's a really, really good theme that they hammer home well in the inclusion of the Ewoks. And the comedy with C3PO being viewed as a god. It's just awesome. Like really iconic stuff. It was cool to see them in that, how they used the redwood forest to film the scenes, the speeder bike chase, get the biker scouts. Really cool stuff. So I love all the indoor stuff. I think every character gets a chance to shine, whether it be C3PO or Chewie. Just really cool. And another thing that this movie really does well is wrapping up all of the plot threads that have been established in the previous movies in the trilogy. For example, you have Luke returning to Dagobah to finish his training under Yoda, which doesn't go as planned, as Yoda is at the end of his life and he is ready to pass on to the Force. But in doing so, Luke gets to confront some really important questions he has about his own life and his father. All of that comes full circle. And this is that moment of emotional maturity for Luke Skywalker where he is truly ready to confront Darth Vader. Because I think this is the moment he truly gets the conviction in himself that he can save Vader. Despite what Obi-Wan and Yoda are saying, he 100% believes there's still good in him, something that he got passed down to him from his mother, and I think just from his own interactions with Vader and just feeling it through the Force. The maturation of Luke Skywalker cannot be understated in this movie because his character development may be the most important in the film. And I really think that they do a good job of not making that feel forced. You feel like Luke has really been through a lot of stuff, but he's now at a point where he's no longer the starry-eyed farm kid. He's ready to take on the Empire. He's ready to face his father. And he's ready to confront the Emperor, which he does with no fear, no hesitation. They also introduce the Emperor in the film, a great final villain that has been hinted at and led up to throughout the trilogy. And the fact that he is a different type of villain, he's not all about just brute power and strength. Yes, he can do those things. He can easily do those things if he chooses to. But his angle is more of manipulation and pushing Luke to the dark side so that Luke can become that version of the Skywalker that Palpatine never had, with Vader being restricted by his injuries in the suit. So Palpatine views it as an opportunity to manipulate and coax Luke into turning to the dark side of the Force and striking down his father in rage, which Luke does not do. And this is the most important scene in all of Star Wars. This is a scene where Luke chooses to forgive his father and love his father. And that in turn leads to Anakin Skywalker returning and defeating Darth Vader in a sense of he chooses to save his son. He chooses love. He no longer chooses the rage and the hatred and the power that the dark side tempts you with. He chooses love. He chooses to return to the light, showing that it's never really too late. Just a masterfully done scene, and one of the best scenes in all of Star Wars. A few of the other plot threads that are wrapped up is we do kind of finally see that resolution of, Leia gonna be with Luke, gonna be with Han. Well, Leia's Luke's sister, so that's out the door. And we see her and Han really kind of cementing their relationship. We get to see the Rebels have their important victory of blowing up the second Death Star. We get, we get to see all of those characters like Lando and Wedge and some of the other Rebels having a good moment to shine. So, really awesome stuff there. And I think the most beautiful part of the film is the ending scene where, we see Luke burning Vader's corpse and the funeral pyre. And then we see the Force ghost of Anakin Skywalker returning and watching over his son and his daughter. And just seeing that original cast all together, they're celebrating. It's a true victory. You can't end the film on a better note than that. This broken, tortured man has finally returned to the light, and he is seeing the victory, he is seeing the good. And it's amazing, it's beautiful, and God, Return of the Jedi is just an amazing, amazing ending. The perfect ending to the Star Wars trilogy, in my opinion. Yeah, there were things that I would have liked to have seen differently in a way. Like I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit more of the Force Ghost thing, but I think that's best left as a mysterious aspect of Star Wars. You definitely don't want to overdo it and make the magic and the mystery disappear by over explaining how the Force Ghosts work or giving them extended dialogue scenes. I think we get more of that in other projects and things like that, um but yeah, I mean, as far as Return of the Jedi goes, amazing film, one of my favorites to go back and rewatch, and the perfect ending to the Skywalker saga. Well, that's going to be all I got for you this time. I appreciate you watching the video. Go watch Return of the Jedi. You won't regret it. As many times as you see that film, you'll enjoy it every time. And that's going to be it. Thanks for watching once again. May the Force be with you. Now let's blow up that like button and go home.